perhaps we will find a taker for you today. Very useful you are. Very, very useful. Or perhaps you, yes. Perhaps. Oh, welcome, traveler. Please, please come closer. Step into the mouse wagon here. Let me show you all of the most fascinating potions that you never knew you needed. Please, please have a seat. Make yourself comfortable. My wagon is your wagon. While you are here, of course. But first, before we begin with my wares, might I offer you a bit of tea? This is a very special tea, you see. It is called wisdom tea. And it can be quite enlightening. No? Well, then you have passed my test, traveler. For you see, the true wisdom is to never accept something like this from someone that you do not know, especially in a place like this, in Peddler's Alley. You have proven that you are going to be a most interesting customer indeed. Now, of course, there is actually nothing wrong with this tea. It was my tea that I was drinking before. But anyway, I have the most fascinating array of different potions, different tinctures and elixirs and powders and things that can do all kinds of fascinating things. I think you will find them most diverting. Yes, yes, yes. Let me see. Where shall we start? Let us start with this. Now, this is a powder. A very interesting powder. You see, if you open this and you reach your hand in it, the whole satchel would actually explode. This powder ignites when it comes into contact with human skin. That's right. So, if you were, say, being chased by someone and they had bare feet, then you could empty this on the ground behind you, and as soon as they stepped on it, no more pursuer. Quite useful, quite useful. All right, that's quite a specific situation, but I'm sure you could think of other applications for this. Yes, it is quite useful indeed, quite powerful. Just please do be careful opening the package. I would not want you to get yourself singed. Why, yes, I did say human flesh. That is a good distinction. You see, this would not ignite if it was touched by someone like a gnome or a dwarf or an elf. Not that there are any of those in this kingdom anymore. But if it is a different race, it does not work. At least not with the races that I have been able to test from my home. But it certainly works on humans. That could be a very interesting thing for you, perhaps. No. You do not need to make a decision yet. I will show you several of my items that I think you would find the most interesting. And then at the end, you may tell Tamal what is the most interesting to you. What is speaking to you specifically, yes? All right, so you ponder this, the exploding powder. But there are many interesting things that Tamal has. Some of them are very specific, but for the right person, they could be invaluable. You never know. Like this one. This is one of my personal favorites. This is the Elixir of Squirrel Friendship. That's right. This will allow you to befriend those fuzzy little creatures that you have here. You know, funny creatures, these little squirrels that you have in this kingdom. They are similar in size to a desert mouse that we have where I am from. But the squirrels are much, how do you say, floofier? Yes, they are quite floofy. The floofy tail and the floofy ears, they are very floofy. Very fascinating creatures. Now, I know what you are thinking. You are thinking, Tamal, when would I ever need to befriend a squirrel? I'm glad you asked. There are many instances where squirrels could be absolutely invaluable. Are you tied up somewhere and you need a rope chewed through? Squirrels. Or perhaps you are in the middle of a heist and you need a guard dog distracted. Squirrel. Or perhaps you need an attic infiltrated. Squirrel. Truly, they are a very, very versatile, interesting creature. I also have reason to believe that this might also work on chipmunks. The little ones, yes. I have not been able to test extensively, but I do think that it would also work on the chipmunks. So, that could be a very, very interesting elixir that could get you out of many problems. You never know. A traveler like yourself, I can tell from your cloak and your countenance that you have encountered many strange, unusual, and perhaps dangerous situations. You never know, and being able to befriend a squirrel might come in handy. But that is okay. You do not have to answer me yet. Let me show you something else, perhaps, that you might like. This one. This is a very special cream that will remove the warts from your left foot. Yes, a very powerful left wart remover. I'm still working on the right foot remover cream, but the left one is good to go, I guarantee it. Yes, this will absolutely overnight. You put it on and then you go to sleep, and when you wake up in the morning, no more warts. But only on the left foot. I'm not sure what would happen if you used it on your right. Best do not try. But as long as you only get, warts on your left foot, then this is perfect. So, anyway, perhaps this is something that would be very interesting to you. Or if that is not interesting, this is another very, very special powder. This can turn a mug of fresh, warm water into coffee. It's not a magical potion or anything, it's just dehydrated coffee. But coffee is quite a fascinating and useful beverage, yes. This is also from my homeland, originally, yes. I'm sure that a traveler like yourself could not turn down the appeal of some lovely cups of coffee on the go. Perhaps you never know when you are going to get your next cup of good coffee. But this, you just pour it into a mug and there you have it. I do also have versions of them that make fruit smoothies if you would prefer that. Or both. You can always do both. I could see them both being quite useful to such a well-versed traveler such as yourself. Absolutely, absolutely. Anyway. No. You do not need to answer me yet. No. It is just fine. We will continue. Let's see what else might be interesting to you. Now this is a very, very powerful potion that allows you to disguise yourself. If you drink this potion, then your hair will immediately turn green. So if ever you are in a land where everyone has green hair, you will blend right in. It will be no problem. Or perhaps you are just being pursued by someone and you need to change your appearance quickly. If you did not have green hair before and then you suddenly have green hair, then whoever is pursuing you would simply look you right over because obviously they would not be looking for green hair. You never know. Or perhaps you just wish to have fun for an evening and just have green hair. It's quite a conversation starter, Yes, it's quite diverting. It doesn't all have to be missions and quests and running for your life and all of those dangerous things. Sometimes it could just be that you would like to have a bit of fun. So, you never know. Green hair. Yes. I guarantee that you will not find a potion like this anywhere else in the kingdom. In fact, any of these concoctions that I will show you, I will make sure that I show you only the most rare, the most fascinating, and of course, the most useful. Any of these would be an incredibly wise investment for someone like you. You never know when green hair could save your life. Just saying. Alright, let's see what else. What else do I have that might? Ah, I have this for putting holes in boats. This one is not magic either, it's just a jar of termites, yes. It does take quite a while. You would have to, plan ahead months or perhaps years. But if you have the time to plan, this could be quite useful in taking down a boat. You could take down an entire armada, really, if you play your cards right. No, a definite no on this one. All right, that's fine. Not everyone likes termites, I understand. In case it, the jar opens and they get out, especially in a wagon like this, that would be very, very bad. So I understand. Are you sure you don't want to take them, though? Because between you and the mal is getting a bit nervous having them for so long. No, okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'm sure I will find someone else. To someone, they will be invaluable. You see, many of these different potions, tinctures, elixirs, they may be quite specific, but the more specific something is, generally that means the more powerful it is. At least when it comes to magic. It may be surprising to hear me just speak so freely of magic. Here in this kingdom, you have many restrictions. It's quite pathetic, really. Quite sad for you. You see, where I am from, we do not have a government breathing down our necks. We are free to practice and perfect our arts, whatever they may be, without the tension of having our research or our discoveries or our new whatever it is simply stolen from us. So it'd be quite sad. So you see, I have had the time to create these amazing, useful potions in a way that you would not have in this kingdom. That is why they are so special here. Why the man likes to come here to Peddler's Alley. Peddler's Alley may be quite a bit less prestigious than the bazaar within the city walls, but there are also quite a few less guards, quite a few less people asking questions here, so I feel a bit more at home here, I suppose. My home? Oh, I apologize, I did not say, did I? I am from a land that, in this kingdom, I believe you just call it the Wilds. A bit, not very creative of a name, but then again, it is a very descriptive name. The land itself is quite wild. It is desert or wilderness or plateaus or many, many dangerous things in the land. But there is quite a primal type of magic there as well. It used to be the land of a great empire. No one knows what happened to it, but there are still ruins around the land that you can visit, and many people try to excavate and learn what they can about these people. But nowadays, there is not one sort of kingdom or empire or something like that. Instead, there are several different powerful cities that all have a unique culture of their own. The place I am from is called Ebonwatch. It is a city that is not too far from the border of this kingdom. It serves as sort of a midway point between the people who may wish to travel the wilds from this kingdom, though there are not many, but there are a few, and the rest of the people of the wilds. It is an outpost town of sorts before you must travel through the treacherous Sahar Pass. But once you travel through that pass, then you get to the glistening amazing city of Baywith. It is an architectural marvel. It is a place of community, of growth, of spirituality, of acceptance. Many different peoples, different cultures, all living together in one place. It is beautiful. And the high priestess who sort of runs the city there, she is very, very wise. Yes, she has been there for, well, a very long time. Anyway, enough about the Tamal's homes. Let me show you something else that may be interesting to you, that you will not find in a kingdom like this. Let's see, what else do I have that you may be interested in? Ah, here's one. Now, this one is a very, very powerful and very useful potion, but many people do not understand the usefulness of it. You see, many people know that the sun can be quite harsh, especially on the skin, especially in the heat of summer. You want to be careful about too much exposure to the harsh rays of the sun. But not everyone knows about the dangers of the moon. Yes. No, it is not just the light of the moon, but also the moon is just a very mysterious energy. Sometimes that mystery is good, and sometimes it is not so good. So, the man has developed this moon screen. It is a very powerful potion that will protect you from the adverse effects of the moon. This is particularly useful for someone who may live in my homeland and choose to travel at night when it is cooler, and sleep during the day so that you do not have the harshness of the sun. But you do not want to have the harshness of the moon affect you either. Very, very useful. In fact, this is such a powerful potion that it also can help combat the curse of lycanthropy. Werewolves, that's right. If you are able to get close enough to a werewolf shortly before they turn on a full moon and lather this on their skin, it will prevent them from turning. As far as the man knows, there is no other solution to that particular problem anywhere in the magical community. That is right. Now, of course, the curse of lycanthropy is not one that people in your kingdom like to speak of, so it is unlikely that you actually know a werewolf. But if you did, this would be a very, very useful potion for that. Very useful indeed. This one has piqued your interest, yes? Interesting. It is so wonderful to meet a wise traveler such as yourself who understands the dangers of the moon. So many people overlook how dangerous the moon can be. Wonderful, wonderful. I'm very pleased to hear that you are so very, very well versed. Speaking of paranormal creatures, we have the moon screen that can prevent a werewolf from turning. But I also have this incredibly invaluable talisman. This is an anti-vampire talisman. You see the little bat on there. It is quite lovely, quite ornately carved, and you will never forget what it does. You see, I really don't know how so many people adventure in this world without something like this to protect them from the dangers of vampires. They can be quite ferocious, But if you wear this, you will be protected. For you see, when vampire blood gets close to it... Wait, I have... Let me show you instead of telling you here. I have this cloth here that has some vampire blood. And when this gets close, listen very carefully.
Go away, vampire. I don't want to be eaten today.
You see? How could a vampire possibly attack you after hearing such a sweet little voice like that? No, this is such a valuable item that so many people should really consider taking with them, especially if they are, more accustomed to traveling in the night. The moon screen and the anti-vampire talisman are both very, very useful, very important to protect oneself from the creatures of the night. Yes, especially for a traveler like you. I feel like that is something that would really resonate with you. Let's see, what else? What else might interest you? Now here is a very interesting one. This is very, very useful in a kingdom such as yours, which is so lush and vibrant with plant life. You see, I was commissioned a while ago to create a serum that would kill weeds for a local farmer not too far from here. But that got me thinking about the usefulness of weeds. Weeds can be very, very useful. Many parts of weeds can actually be eaten if you are in a pinch for food. And they can also be used for all kinds of other things too. So, after I created that anti-weed serum, I created this one, a weed serum. Now this one, if you just pour some of this on the ground, overnight, a very large patch of weeds will spring up out of seemingly nowhere. Very, very useful to have a patch of weeds at your disposal. Well, what if you had the entrance to a hideout that needed to be hidden? You could plant a bunch of weeds around it, and then no one would know where the entrance to the hideout was. Or perhaps you are traveling and you come across something valuable, or perhaps something that is dangerous and you do not want other people to see it. Then you could make weeds spring up around it so that other people would not be able to discover it. I do also have another version that creates a large patch of brambles, if you would prefer that. Yes, just an extra deterrent against anyone who may want to traverse into something. Brambles are typically something that everyone avoids. Although I would not suggest using that one directly over the main entrance to a hideout because, well, brambles. Unless you are okay with getting your very fine cloak there, caught on the brambles every time that you enter and leave. It would not be a good idea. But the weeds would hide it very, very well and would not destroy your very fine cloak. So that might be one that would be very, very useful, very, very interesting to you. You can see the different layers in there. You just have to give it a little bit of a shake before you use it. Yes, just a shake like this. See, it all combines there, but it will separate again, so just give it a little shake every time before you use it, and then just dump some of it on the ground. Very, very useful. Very useful to have a patch of weeds wherever you may want one. Anyway, let's move on, shall we? Let's see, what else may be interesting to you? Now this is one that could certainly get you out of many a tight spot, as long as you are okay carrying pomegranates with you. Do you like pomegranates? Yes, I do too. They're quite delicious. Yes. Now this potion, this one is called pomegranate. Now all you must do is take this potion and pour a little bit onto a ripe pomegranate. And then when you throw that pomegranate, when it hits something, it will explode. And all of the skin and the pulp and the little beads, inside of it will explode all over the place. No, it's not actually a big explosion like with smoke and fire. Just the pomegranate will burst open. Alright, fine, I suppose it's not that different from actually just throwing a very ripe pomegranate, but this will just give it a little extra oomph, it could be quite distracting. You know, maybe this would not be to take out an enemy, although, you know, pomegranates can be quite hard. Hitting someone on the head could certainly, you know, incapacitate them for a moment. But it could also just cause quite a big mess. You know, draw people's attention, draw a crowd, and then you could slip away from the crowd. Or it could also be very slippery, and maybe whoever is pursuing you will slip and fall. You never know. You never know, but this one could be quite interesting as well. This pomegranate potion. Oh, hold on. I maybe should have even started with this one because it is so incredibly fascinating and useful. I think you will find this one very interesting indeed. This is another one that I have developed since frequenting your kingdom more. This would not be very useful in my kingdom, but in your kingdom I think it could be really a lifesaver. And this one is called the Elixir of Cheese. And if you take this potion and pour it onto a pine cone, it will turn that pine cone into a grilled cheese sandwich. That's right, yes. Some nice, you know, bread and the cheese in the middle, and then it gets all melty and nice. And it's absolutely delicious. Yes, this will turn any pine cone, you notice they do put in strange things that fall from so many of your trees here. It will turn that pine cone into a grilled cheese sandwich. So if you are ever in a forest and are running low on provisions, you don't need to worry about it. If you have this with you, you will have an unlimited supply of grilled cheese sandwiches. Anywhere you go, anywhere that there are pine trees of any kind, you will have food. This one is particularly useful, I would think, especially for, you know, a traveler such as yourself. Yes, absolutely. Really invaluable. Like I said, this could save your life if you do not have food and you are quite hungry. This could really come in handy. I mean, any of these are absolutely incredibly invaluable. Personally, I think you should take them all, but why don't you tell them all? Which one of these sounds the most interesting to you? Are you interested in purchasing any of these today? That is a very wise choice, traveler. The moon screen. It is so wonderful to meet a like-minded individual who understands the dangers of the moon. So many people, they just go about whatever they wish to at night, willy-nilly, without understanding the dangers that the moon can pose. That is a very wise purchase. I am so very pleased to hear that. Yes. Let's see a price. What would be fair for this very unique potion? Like I said, especially with the lysanthropy effects, it is very unique. But then again, you are a first-time customer here at the Mal's Wagon, so I will give you a good price. What would you say to 3 gold? Excellent. Thank you ever so much, traveler. I do believe that will be a very useful potion for you. Yes. Now let's see. Tamal likes to be good to her customers, especially here on Peddler's Alley. So, you have purchased the moon screen, but I will give you a gift as well. Yes. Why don't you also take this one? This is the powder that ignites when it touches human flesh, but not other races, as far as the Mal can tell. Yes, I've been able to test it on many different races in my home and in yours as well. Thus far, it has only been human flesh that is affected. So Please, human, be very, very careful, as you stick your hand into here. But it could be very, very useful in other situations as well. So why don't you take this? No. This is a gift for a first-time customer and for such a well-versed and wise traveler. Yes. You take this and you think well of the mall as you traverse the rest of the Peddler's Alley, yes? Wonderful. Well, thank you ever so much, traveler, for stepping into my wagon and looking at my very unique potions. I think you have made an excellent purchase today. Well, wherever the world may take you next, I hope that you will find what you are looking for, whether it be here on Peddler's Alley or inside the city or who knows where else. Well met, traveler. Well met.